Hey everyone, welcome to the moon forecast video for the full moon we have in Sagittarius. I'm Kendall with the Bohemian Tarot Girl.
I'm Amy with Wild Reawakening, and we're here to talk about the Sagittarius full moon that's happening on May 23rd at 6:52 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that moon is happening at almost 3 degrees of Sagittarius. So
Yes. How are you feeling about all of this energy? We're coming out of, Mercury retrograde closing up, which I'm really happy about. Um, and I feel like things are loosening up, right? We've come out of this eclipse season and kind of these heavier shifts that have brought us now to a little bit easier energy, is how I'm feeling.
yeah, it is feeling much more inspired and
Mhm.
much more forward momentum and a lot more creative and vibrant and action oriented than the energies that we have had, because we did have that. April was all about kind of like delays and breaking down old systems and moving away from things that were no longer in alignment with our life. And then the first part of May with all of that Taurus energy, which was all about laying a new foundation and creating stability and looking kind of like making plans. And so now we're moving into Gemini. Happy Gemini season, which is an can't even talk, an air energy. and and then we have the Sagittarius full moon, and full moons, of course, as you know, if you've been watching this, is when the moon is in the opposite sign of where the sun is. And so with this moon in Sagittarius opposing the sun in Gemini, we have these two very different energies that are kind of coming together and um, creating this energy of trying to meet each other halfway is kind of how I look at it. Gemini is an air sign. It's very mental. It's ruled by Mercury. It's all about your ideas and your communication and um, your thought processes and how you relate to the world. And then we have the moon in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign.
Mhm.
Um, and Sagittarius energy is always a little erratic for me. I, and what I mean by that is like Sagittarius being a fire sign, it's very action oriented.
Yeah.
And it's very much about going out and doing things and gaining the wisdom through the experience of the action. And so there's not necessarily with Sagittarius a whole lot of mental process or thought process that goes in before decisions are made. It's more like we do it first and then we get the lesson. Whereas others, especially Gemini, is very much how many ways can we think about this thing before we come to a conclusion. And so it's kind of taking both of these opposite ends of the spectrum and finding balance between how are you getting the most enlightened, intuitive, accurate information, and how are you communicating to the world your ideas while still creating the experience and moving forward um and being an active participant
Yeah.
at the same time.
I feel like that is the key for this moon, is really making sure that you're actually making the moves forward with this energy. The Sagittarius energy is very much like an explorer going out there and taking on the world and making it happen. And I feel like we've gone through this time of where we've been shown all of the things that we needed to clear, all the things that we needed to shift, and we've been offered this path. And now we have to like take the opportunity to actually physically go down the path. And I think the people who are going to struggle during this full moon are people that are going to dwell more in their head, and they're going to think and over react to kind of the mental processes that are going on, that are popping up, instead of just like making the action and just taking the leap and going for it, right?
Yeah. And so much of the supporting energies of this moon, because of course it's not always just about what the moon is doing. The moon is a very short term energy. It changes every like 2.5 to 3 days. Um, So the moon's not going to be in Sagittarius a long time because it's full. We kind of highlight the energy because it does, full moons have a significant impact on like the cycle of everything. But the actual energy of what's happening is very kind of minuscule for longevity. But we do have all of these other planets that are creating different aspects during this time of the moon that's going to really impact all of the energy that is happening with the moon. And so the outer lying planets and what is going on with them, which of course we always talk about and we're getting to, but so much of it right now is so influenced with how you use your intuition, where your inner trust is, how you let things flow, what you are allowing to have come towards you, and how you're receiving it. And all of these little things, all of these outside players are really going to impact how you decide to move and work with this energy and what happens next. So it's really a significant, important, can be a very prosperous and lucky moon, but it all also
Yes.
depends on how you're going to relate to it. And if you're going to be dwelling in kind of your head energy, like if you're really attached to that Gemini, Mercury, overthinking aspect, or if you're going to utilize that to really elevate your situation. So
For sure. And I feel like this moon, I mean, yes, there are things that happen throughout our our calendar, our monthly calendars, but this one in particular, if you look at what is even going on in the lead up to this week with the different key pieces that meet up, it's really interesting. And then we'll talk about obviously on the physical moon, what happens. And then it's really that opening, right? And so paying attention to these openings in your life can allow you to make moves in your world that will affect you way later on down the path. And so you have to kind of take this opportunity and be aware of what's going on. Sometimes people will move through life and they're subconsciously just generally going with the flow and it's working out for them. And then there are people that are aware of the energy. And so that's where we're trying to bring everyone into is the awareness of the energy so you can make the right shifts in your life to make things happen. Because who wouldn't want to miss out? Who would want to miss out on some good energy to make things happen? So
yeah,
I
definitely.
can
And
always use that.
we weren't always people who followed the energies. Like this is something that we became aware of and we started paying attention. And what I've noticed through doing that is that when you recognize the energies and then you learn to work with them, it's like you're flowing with the flow of the river instead of trying to swim upstream and wondering why you're not getting where you want to go. And so that's why just
Exactly.
having an awareness of what's happening and how to navigate it can really start shifting your general view of life and your flow with the universe a little bit better or a lot better.
I agree. What do you want to start off talking about? As far as I feel like
Oh
there's
my gosh,
quite a bit going on. We have
there's so
Jupiter in Taurus, and then we have, of course, Jupiter. Let's talk about Jupiter because I feel like Jupiter is a big player, and Jupiter is bringing us some lucky energy. So, and then it's transitioning into Gemini a couple days after, which is interesting too. So,
yeah, Jupiter's a little we look at Jupiter, especially with this moon, because this moon is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is already kind of like an important planet, and Jupiter is all about abundance and luck and being bigger than life. It elevates everything it comes in contact with. So it's really important to kind of see what it's connecting with. And so it's at 29 degrees of Taurus, getting ready to shift into Gemini, like you said. And Jupiter stays in a sign for like a year. So
yep.
we've had a year in Taurus energy. So wherever that is in your chart, and you can look at, if you have your chart, you can look at what house Jupiter has been sitting in and kind of making waves in this whole time, and how it's kind of elevated. but it is conjunct Venus, which is also is in Taurus for a little bit longer as well. And so Venus being the planet of love and money and prosperity and everything that feels good, it's getting that boost from Jupiter that's really kind of going to elevate all of the positive things in your life. Pay attention to what could be being created at this time, because there's the potential for something really beautiful to be birthed, for some idea or some part of your life to really be elevated and start growing, or just develop stronger roots. It's and Venus rules Taurus, so you've got like this really mutually beneficial energy happening here. And it could really open the doors for something that is very successful or prosperous, or abundant in your life at this time.
Yeah, I like that. And we've been in this Taurus energy. And so we've gone through this process of kind of clearing and manifesting. And here we are kind of coming up right to the end. And we're getting this beautiful alignment along with this full moon right before we're having some changeover into that other sign. And, like you said, it's really like, here's the potential to see some rewards given to you from what you've been trying to bring into your world in the last year or so. So I'd really, take a step back and look at things in your journal, things that you've been thinking about, and really see how far you've come. A lot of times we miss the gifts that are given to us. So it's so hard because we're living our daily lives and we don't realize, like, okay, I've now made it to point B from point A, and I didn't even acknowledge that, right? That's happened. And so seeing the gifts that have been brought into your life is really important during this time, and give thanks to it because it's actually going to elevate you as we kind of jump into that Gemini energy, which is going to be a lot more kind of mental, I would say, like in the air realm. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, it's
and big.
and when you're trying to create something, or you're trying to receive abundance, the reception part can be a really important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I feel like if there's any, I'm trying to say, if there's any like aspect where you feel like there's like a potential block or resistance to your ability to receive all the things that you would like to bring into your life, like that's a good part of this moon, because full moons are so meant for clearing away and releasing and shifting and removing whatever blockages are standing in the way of building whatever, or moving towards whatever you want to create. So I'm not sure why that's coming up now, but it just feels like like that's something to definitely look at. If there's, you can try and manifest all day long certain things that you want, but if there's an inner core belief happening behind the scenes of not feeling like you're worthy, or not feeling like you're able to fully receive good things in your life, then this can really be an energy that feels a little weird. Uh, and even though it has the potential to bring good things, like it's not necessarily something that can happen automatically
No.
unless you allow it to gravitate towards you fully.
Well, and that's that, even with the energy of the moon, that's that Sagittarius energy. If there's no action taken, right? And if you aren't willing to accept an offering, and I think that's what people miss out, like we're just talking about with manifestation, is often we call things in and then the universe will knock and bring it to us, and we either go, oh, I can't do that right now, and you might not even be aware of it a lot of times of what is being brought in. So being really conscious of what you're denying yourself or pushing away is really important right now, because if you're denying yourself and you're not taking the opportunities that are being brought to you, then you need to change up what you're manifesting, because it's constantly trying to flow into your life, and then here you are just going rejecting it, and you might not even be consciously aware of it. So just pay extra super attention to that. um it's really, like, amazing too, because we think about, like, money, right? People want money to bring it in to their lives, and money is just a form of energy. And if we think about it in a way of, if you don't define what you want to manifest to, it'll bring it in all sorts of forms. And so you have to be aware. You might be offered a new credit card, and that might be the form of getting you the money that you need to get your business going, right? And so it's those pieces that we have to be aware of. So if it's not the offer that you want, then you need to be a little bit more specific in what you're manifesting. But I feel like this time is the time of opportunities. So if anything
Oh, for sure.
knocks at your door, just take it.
Yeah, there's so much that's like divinely like being brought in right now based on your ability to take it and run with it, I feel like. What are you going to grow, and how are you going to build upon the gifts that you've been given? Um, as you were saying that, I totally, it brought something up, and I'm very much one of those who feels like information comes in at the right time for a reason, even if it doesn't make sense. And so earlier today, I actually stumbled on a video, and I feel like now as we're talking, I stumbled on it so I could share it. But it was talking about manifestation and how normally when we create something, we get the idea and then we build upon it. And so something always starts with an idea. Everything that is created starts with a thought. And then with manifesting, you almost have to do it backwards. And you have to act and then let it be created afterwards. And I feel like that's very much in line with this energy that's happening. And so the whole idea behind it is that you act as if you already have the thing that you want. And the example they used is like, if you want to have more money and you only have $5 in your pocket, then you take that $5, you turn it into 5 ones, and then you go and give it to somebody who does not have as much as you. And then that creates the energy of, well, I have enough. And so now I can receive more. If you're coming at manifesting it the way of, I don't have this, I need this, or there's anxiety around it, then you're creating that energy of lack that's going to prevent it from actually coming in, because the focus is on not having instead of on having already. And so it's just kind of like shifting your mind a little bit so that the energy that comes in matches the energy that you already hold. And I know that's kind of like can be a hard thing to sometimes figure out, but once you can create that shift, it's just an energetic vibration. And that's really what bringing in more of the good stuff is about, is like, where is your vibration at? And is it in alignment and a magnet with the type of stuff that you want to come towards you? Or are you focusing on all the negative things and the things that you don't have? So that's why, yeah.
Don't do it.
That's when I talk about energy and stuff like that. One of the first things we talk about is, creating an energetic vibration of gratitude and being so grateful for everything that you have, that the universe is like, oh, well, they already appreciate it. Let's go ahead and give them more. And it really does help shift so much. So,
Oh, I'm with you. And
yeah.
this is a great opportunity to make some last minute shifts and to get yourself really aligned. So
We also have Pluto as a
I was
big
gonna say,
player in this one. Yeah, Pluto is in Aquarius. It's at 2 degrees Aquarius. And so it's at a direct sextile with this moon, which is offering, Pluto's all about transformation and kind of the elevation of things. I think it's like transformation, rebirth, finding something new perspectives. And so sextiling this moon, I feel like it's really, and it's also at um newly in Aquarius. So we're already kind of getting all of the Aquarian downloads of innovation and technology and looking at things from a more global and communal perspective, because it's all about the community and society and the collective. And so there's a possibility that there could be different shifts in your perception of things coming in. You may start to look at things in a higher elevated way, deep insights into things that are going on. And there could be like even a shift in your core beliefs and kind of how you view the world, and how and based on that, like based on your own perceptions and how you view the world, is also how you will start to interact and show up in the world. So pay attention about these realizations that could be coming in, or shifts in perspective that may just like totally kind of create a different trajectory to your involvement in the physical realm.
Yeah. I definitely think with the Pluto energy, it's one of the outer planets. And so when we think about it, it is like the larger aspects, like as far as like the world outside of our direct world. Um, but paying attention to, like you said, those key pieces that are gonna shift. There's something in this energy that's suggesting that it's going to affect us in our daily lives. And so paying attention to what's going to be brought in during this time is going to be very interesting. I'm interested to see what happens and the shifts that are made, because it can have a drastic impact into your world. So
Yeah, and it's also like Pluto's also trining the sun, which is a very amicable energy between the two. Like it's very fluid and it works really well together. And so Gemini being about communication and Pluto being about like kind of impact and transformation, there could be really significant communication, and not just communication coming in towards you from other people, but like communication coming in from spirit or from your intuition. It can also really hold some really divine truths that are being awakened within you, or that you're kind of receiving. And it's also an opportunity to really get clear and use your voice intentionally to create and to impact. And it can be, I just feel like this Pluto aspect is a really significant and important and powerful like transit that's going to impact how everything kind of unfolds. So
I'm with you, Amy. And I'm kind of excited just because of where it's like we're kind of having this happen, to see really how it's shifting in our outside world to come in. So I never want to see anything bad happen. I'm not into the negative things or anything like that. And that's not where I'm going to focus my energy on. But just realizing the impact of the external world for us. So what else do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Neptune really quick, or
yes,
feeling about Neptune?
Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces, which is at the end of the Pisces. Before it's a very outer moving planet, so it's slow moving, but it's has a lot to do with your spirituality and your intuitive guidance and your connection to divine and what's otherworldly. And so it's at the end of that cycle, but Pisces is also the last cycle in the zodiac. So it's like at the end of the end. And that's really significant. And it's kind of like creating this sense of a graduation or a reemergence or a very deeper awareness of who we are and how we fit in with the grand scheme of things. And there could be some big doors opening as a result of that, and leaning into that energy and awakening to your full potential as a soul a divine being on a soul level living in a human form on this planet. So,
No, I'm with you there.
and so there's like so much energy that's kind of like up leveling us and really making us look at kind of the deeper aspects of ourselves and our intuition and higher realms of how we exist in the world. We also have Mars in Aries, which is conjunct the North Node, which means they are right at the exact same place. And North Node is kind of like about the direction of where you should be putting your focus into creating and building in this part of your life. And you're born with the North Node, and that's kind of the theme for your life. But the North Node also transits through different areas. And it's a fairly long transit. And so it's been, well, it's over a year. It's about a year and a half. We're in the North Nodes, and the nodes affect the eclipses. So that's like, there's been so much eclipse energy. And so we're still kind of in the midst of everything that last eclipse is wanting to kind of shift in our life and bring in and delete and all of that. So with Mars conjunct the North Node, it's really putting an emphasis on moving forward faster in that direction. So you're probably going to be feeling big shifts in a certain area of your life. You want to look at where Aries is in your chart. That'll give you a big hint. Aries for me is in my 7th house, which is about relationships. So that's always an interesting, we'll see what kind of shifts happen.
Oh no.
Because right now it's not feeling like very, like very movement oriented. So we'll see. We've got some time for that to kind of build. Fingers crossed it's in a good direction.
I'm hoping for you.
But I mean, that's just an example of, you want to look at what house that's sitting in, because that's going to be the themes around what is shifting for you during this whole North Node eclipse cycle. And it's really like with Mars and being action oriented and really a fast moving thing, it's looking at like, who are you becoming, and what direction do you want to move in, and really getting clear on a direction or what you want or where your boundaries are at, or there's just like it. If you're going to be moving forward, you kind of want to have a direction that you're moving towards. Otherwise, you're just going to end up who knows where. So paying attention to that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think who knows where can be exciting and fun, but if you really have an area or a focus in mind for this, you can leave it up to the universe to kind of work out the little pieces and create surprise, but at least know that whatever's coming in is either in alignment with what you want or it's not alignment with what you want, so you can change direction if needed before it's too late.
And I feel like that encompasses like the whole key of really this moon is knowing what's in alignment with you, making sure that you're going in that direction. If you're not, get rid of it and then hustle yourself onto the right path right at this moment, because
Oh
the
gosh,
energy is so good and you can make huge leaps and bounds. It's just, you got to make sure that you're where you're supposed to be.
You're ready to receive it when it
Mhm.
comes. And then what
Exactly.
you're receiving or what's coming towards you is what you want. So
Exactly. Anything else you want to chat about before we wrap up, or no?
I don't think so. Just on a personal level, if you are more interested in learning about astrology, you are interested in learning how to read your chart, if you are interested in how to release and let go of certain energies in your life, please join us at Wild Reawakening on Facebook. We have a page, which is very general. And then we also have a group where we get more detailed, involved in personal. And so I'll be posting classes and workshops and how to work with me there as well. Do you want to self-promote anything?
Yeah, and you're going to be doing like a free workshop coming up on basics. So
Yeah. Astrology basics, so that if any of this in here feels kind of a little over your head, we're going to get into the details so that when we talk about different transits and different aspects to things or different planets, like you can have a broader grasp or a better grasp of what it is that we're talking about.
awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And you can find the link when Amy posts it at Wild Reawakening on Facebook. Have a great full moon. Make sure that you're getting yourself going on the path. Take this opportunity, and we will see you next time for the new moon. Bye, everyone.